All right. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right. Yes, my guest has been Xanders Okeke, is a senior reporter with Hot FM. I will be back with a minute shortly after this time out.
That's it on the program today. Glory?
Yes, to join us next week for another insightful package. I am Glory Ekanem.
Make it insightful again. Same time, same session. And on behalf of all of us here, I will say bye.
Are you aware that the death percentage attributed to Lassa fever cases is currently put at 43.2%, a figure considered very high? Lassa fever, an acute viral illness characterized by high fever, muscle aches, mouth ulcers and bleeding in the skin, is harbored by rats and spread to humans via the urine and droppings of rats. To prevent Lassa fever, avoid any exposure with rodents, rats, as well as food and objects contaminated with rat secretions and excretions. Report all suspected cases of Lassa fever immediately to the nearest healthcare institution. Help prevent Lassa fever. This message is from the federal government of Nigeria.
Breaking the news, we are Africa's largest network. Africa's largest network, second to none. The first, the biggest, the best. Education, sports, authentic news, views. You can't beat the rich.
We have always lived together as brothers and sisters. Though we speak different languages and celebrate different cultures, we were still one Nigeria. There was no bombing, there was no kidnapping, and our children were not cultists. Now, we suspect one another as there are spreads of cultism, bombing, and kidnapping. How long shall this go on? Terrorism is alien, kidnapping is criminal, cultism is barbaric. Nigeria is a blessed country. Support the Nigeria Police and the fight against terrorism, kidnapping and cultism. Always inform the police of any incident around you. Say something when you suspect something.
Remember, we all have a stake in building a crime-free Nigeria of our dream.
This message is from
A very good afternoon and welcome to News Panorama from the Sokoto Network Center. I am Zainab Saeed Abdel Nasser. President Buhari's fight against insurgency receives a boost with European Union's pledge of $50 million. financial mismanagement in public sector attributed to underutilization of Fiscal Responsibilities Commission established by law. These and more when we return. The fight against Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria by Buhari's administration has received a boost with a pledge of $50 million by the European Union in support of the containment efforts. President of the German Federation, Joachim Gauck, who announced this at a joint media briefing with President Muhammadu Buhari, said both Germany and Europe are satisfied with the general commitment of the Nigerian government towards restoring normalcy in the security situation. State House correspondent Adamu Samu reports.
President Joachim Gauck of Germany was the first official engagement by President Muhammadu Buhari since returning from his 5-day vacation in the United Kingdom. After the formal state arrival ceremony at the courtyard of the presidential villa, the two leaders went into a closed-door meeting where discussions were held on ways and means of intensifying and deepening bilateral relations between Nigeria and Germany. Addressing newsmen later, the German President Joachim Gauck, who described Nigeria as his country's most important partner in Africa, noted with concern the devastating effect of the Boko Haram insurgency on the economy, saying, however, that steps taken so far by the Buhari administration to end the menace are encouraging.
Angesichts des schrecklichen Terroranschlages.
We believe that it is a very good approach that you have chosen. Europe will support that initiative by making available $15 million. Germany will continue to provide humanitarian support and aid to the refugees, especially to traumatized women and children.
President Gauck also acknowledged the personal engagement of President Muhammadu Buhari in his determination to rid the country of corruption and promised every support of the German government in this regard.
And we could be helpful in one way or another, for example, by offering a dialogue on rule of law, offering our support based on the experiences we have made over the years to your police form and the judiciary. Then we're more than happy to extend that support to you.
He, however, said Nigeria needs to do more towards developing and opening up new sources of energy towards ensuring stable power supply for economic prosperity.
Renewables is an area where I see German companies well positioned to also make a contribution here.
President Muhammadu Buhari thanked the German government and the European Union for demonstrating genuine concern to the nation's security challenges.
It's a pity Boko Haram welcomed you by explosions in Maiduguri that took so many lives. Our efforts have to be redoubled to make sure that the people in internally displaced camps have been rehabilitated, especially the children. If possible, try and identify their neighborhoods, repair the schools, the health centers, and maybe part of the village so that they can get out of the trauma they have experienced as a result of the ungodly terrorist attacks of the Boko Haram.
On Nigeria's wish list requested by the G7, President Buhari said that has already been forwarded to his secretariat and expressed delight over the response so far.
Training teams have been sent to our institutions. Health has been sent. But what we do is to try to get our own committee under General Tiwa Danjuma and those that are coming to help, whether NGOs from within or outside the country, to go and meet them so that they should be shown what damage has been done to the infrastructure and what plans we have.
While commending the German companies for providing quality services in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari used the opportunity to solicit the support of Germany for Nigeria's desire to be elected as a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council.
Nigeria feels that we are qualified by our number, by our size, by our position in Africa, to have a permanent seat in the United Nations. We hope Germany will support us.
Don't forget my invitation to come to visit Germany.
From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The President, Republic of Germany, Mr. Joachim Gauck, has pledged his country's support to Nigeria in its fight against terrorism, advising, however, that military approach alone will not solve the problem. He stated this during a visit to the leadership of the National Assembly. Abdullahi Garba Birnin Kudu has the report.
The German president, who visited the National Assembly in company of his wife and 2 parliamentarians, saluted the democratic nature Nigeria had its change of government last year. He expressed the willingness of his country to partner with Nigeria to end terrorism and corruption. This, however, he added, must be complemented with good governance directed at resettlement and rehabilitation of people who are ravaged by the insurgency.
Sondern das Land braucht Erfolge bei der Entwicklung.
Nigeria's Senate President Abubakar Bukola Saraki and the Speaker Yakubu Dogara describes the visit as historic, which will assist in current economic reforms in the country.
We want to also encourage your support in the area of diversification of our economy, particularly in the areas of agriculture and solid minerals. I think there's a key role you can play in the area of supporting this policy drive.
The expectation of our people that really drove them to vote for this change is that they believe that democracy will work this time around. And if we don't succeed in delivering this change, it may even endanger the democracy that we're talking about. And of course, as a nation, we cannot achieve that alone.
The visiting German president had earlier held a private meeting with the Senate leadership. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Garba Birnin Kudu, NTA News.
African cultural values over the years are seen by social affairs commentators to have been eroded as a result of influx of foreign cultural goods and attitudes. Charting a new course in the quest for rediscovering and promoting Nigeria's hidden cultural treasures is urgently needed. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says there must be reawakening to the positive values inherent in Nigeria's culture, tradition, and history. He stated this while receiving a new reality show, Leaders. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Of the Governing Council of Jewel of Africa, a reality TV show led by Senator Olorunni Mamora. The Vice President Yemi Osinbajo explained that culture is a veritable tool by which people can successfully promote rich and enduring values and at the same time grow the economy, as done in advanced countries. He observed that culture is a veritable vehicle for addressing societal ills, especially among young people, emphasizing that it is only through culture by way of popular films, music, arts, that the society can pass important messages without boring people. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, while commending the ideals of the Jewel of Africa reality TV show, states that the entertainment industry in Nigeria, particularly Nollywood, has made Nigerian culture very popular in Africa and globally.
It's a cultural reality show which will debut very soon.
Kolawole Ogungbe is the brain behind it.
Jewel of Africa, we want to use it to rewrite all the wrongs that have been said about Africans. And this is a project that will bring together all the entire African continent, starting with Nigeria.
Nigeria has decided to take the bull by the horn to project the Jewel of Africa, which will bring our youth to the front burner for other African countries to understand that, yes, the real culture it's not what is being projected.
Your culture will be there, mine will be there. Where they are in tandem, we'll move forward with it and form one united country, one united community, one united community of Africa, one united community of the world.
An author once wrote that for far too long, majority of Africans have been indifferent to the misrepresentations about who they are. Perhaps those may turn out to be an eye-opener. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The Senate has attributed some of the financial mismanagement in the public service to the underutilization of the Fiscal Responsibilities Commission established by the law. This was one of the issues raised by the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, when she defended the ministry's budget before the Senate. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Garba Kodu reports.
Committee on Finance. Leading the Accountant General of the Federation and other agencies in the Finance Ministry, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun was taken to task on the issues of the management of the Treasury single account, the integrated payroll system, among other issues key to prudent management of the nation's treasury.
What will happen to agencies of government that are found to have used personnel, budget or whatever provisions to defraud government?
If we're able to get everybody onto the BVN platform, we will be able to save a considerable amount on personnel costs. Not only will we remove those people from our payroll, but we will also be going after the banks concerned to recover our money.
When it came to the Fiscal Responsibility Commission, the lawmakers expressed dissatisfaction with the way the act establishing the commission is being enforced. The Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amechi, was also before Senate Committee on Marine Transport with heads of the agencies in the ministry. The senators questioned the state of work at some projects, like the dredging of the river Niger, put at 99% completion stage.
99% completed. 99% completed. That river Niger.
So as whether it has been dredged, the answer is yes. That is a draft 2.5 meter, that's very shallow. And the kind of vessels that will go there will not be the vessels that go to Port Harcourt or Lagos.
That the marine sector must plan all leakages, improve surveillance on all revenue sources, and bring innovations into the administration of this very important sector of our economy.
The committees pledged effective oversight when the budget is passed. For the National Assembly, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, has disclosed that the National Research Council, headed by President Muhammadu Buhari, is proposing a bill to the National Assembly to set up a research fund in fast-tracking growth in Nigeria. He stated this at the 2016 Raw Materials Research Council Expo 2016 in Abuja. Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji reports.
A mandate to develop local raw materials and coordinate research efforts, especially in relation to exploitation, adaptation of machinery to achieve industrial breakthrough and growth of development capabilities. The Raw Materials Research and Development Council brought together inventors and key policy makers with a view to lead efforts in diversifying the nation's economy.
The Council will make sure that a bill is sent to the National Assembly for us, for the first time, to have a research and innovation fund that will solve the funding problems of research and development in Nigeria.
The major objective of this is actually for us to address technology adaptation and commercialization problems and issues for local internal process.
We will not become the 10th largest in the world mid-century, nor the 20th largest by 2025, unless these foundations are built on Nigerian farmers, on Nigerian MSMEs, and on Nigerian fabricators to build your own technology and to build up from the bottom.
Away from speech making, what has the efforts of those who have their hands dirty yielded after research and experimentation?
This is a waste-to-wealth product. We're basically looking at some electronic waste and other waste and packaging them into retention vessels which can either keep cold at all times or hot at all times.
Most of the acrylic for high-quality pens in Nigeria are imported. It makes it very costly to obtain this pen. So this research work, intends to add value to our rubber plantations because the rubber latex, have the potential to be developed into a binder.
Cheering is a revelation by the Minister of Science and Technology to encourage the commercialization of current and future research findings in the nation's universities and research institutes, a development capable of transforming bright ideas into reputable products and services on the international scene. In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji, NTA News.
The federal government has given assurance that Nigerians will begin to feel the positive impact of Rima Basin Development Authorities in less than 12 months from now. Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, gave the assurance after receiving the report of the committee set up on strengthening the Rima Basin Development Authorities in Abuja. Ms. Baudan Wahab reports.
Since his assumption of office, Water Resources Minister and his team have been consistent in charting a new policy direction for the water sector. From consultations to retreats with relevant partners, the first target has been how to restructure the River Basin Development Authorities to discharge their regional mandates. With the expression given to the passion required, the Committee on Strengthening the River Basins has turned in its report in less than the 4-week time frame given, and the report has much to reveal. Apart from series of inconsistencies and reversals of policies which have been abating inefficiency of the authorities, the Nuruddin Rafindadi Committee also discovered inadequate funding and equipment and lack of focus on some other challenges facing the sector.
To look at the river basins in their respective areas and examine their peculiarities, each one with them with their strengths and advantages, and determine the projects that we should give priority in each of the river basins, and then do a set of recommendations which basically consist of quick win projects, as well as other recommendations that will strengthen and reorient the river basins so that they could be their old selves.
In the face of the urgent need for food security, water supply and power generation, the expectation is growing on the 12 river basin development authorities across the country to live up to their mandates. And Water Resources Minister Suleiman Adamu expressed optimism that the ministry will explore all available means to give life to the river basins again.
The river basins cannot all achieve what they want to achieve at the same time, but we are going to put them in a competition, let them compete among themselves, and then we'll see how things go. So it's the immediate thing is just to ginger them, and then we have the medium-term and the long-term goals. The long-term goals is for them to be able to sustain themselves. But I hope that my feeling and my hope is that in the next 18 to 24 months, we'll begin to see changes in these river basins. Partnering with more companies, we'll begin to see them re-equipping, we'll begin to see them putting round pegs in round holes. We're getting the right people in the right place to manage.
And with many of such committee reports in the past, the minister gave assurance that this will not go the way of the past. In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NT News.
Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, says there will be paradigm shift in the process of handling road projects in Nigeria. The ministry's 20 defense at the National Assembly. Abdullahi Aminu reports.
The budget defense dwelt on the road sector reform program, with members suggesting that a public-private partnership process be introduced.
We're talking of economic routes, which are the routes that are most critical to certain goods and services and their movement in the country. In making that choice, we then look at how to ensure that no part of Nigeria is left behind.
So that by the end of the fourth or third year, this government can proudly say we have achieved, President Barry can say we have achieved from point A to B and from B to C. And that's part of his campaign promise. I will be helping to achieve those campaign promises.
In another development, the Chairman Senate Committee on Customs, Adam Aleru, says the committee will conduct an oversight visit to find out the reality on ground over the 2015 capital expenditure of the Nigeria Customs Service. It will include the contract for provision of 3 helicopters to boost the operational capacity of the service. The Directorate of Technical Cooperation in Africa and the Institute of Peace and Conflict Resolution under the Foreign Affairs Ministry
is not unaware of its mandate in this regard.
We can only discharge this burden when we have funds allocated to the programs we intended to pursue.
The minister also highlighted adequate implementation.
Waziri Tambol, while expressing happiness, promised the young talented Bashir Aliyu of sponsorship by the state government to further his studies in the United States of America, as well practices automobile design.
As part of Sokoto State government contribution to promote science, technology and innovation, His Excellency has graciously acceded to our request, and he had access to liaise with the relevant departments, the scholarships, the Ministry for Higher Education, to ensure that he got scholarships to travel to United States and to...
While that of the imams is to delve on media and Islam, perspectives and challenges. Isa Abubakar Shuni assured the Sultan that justice, fairness and objectivity remain the cardinal principles of NUJ, being the pillars upon which the historic Sokoto Caliphate was founded.